In the 1970s, Aboriginal people of the desert country began telling traditional stories through modern means. They started painting on canvas, often using acrylic paint. In the 40 years since, many desert artists have achieved international acclaim. They've been helped by many patrons, particularly the prominent businesswoman Janet Holmes. And at a touring exhibition of desert art, she spoke to Greg Hoy.
To many white Australians, the desert country might seem like desolate wasteland. But to Indigenous artists, there's a very different story that needs telling.
These places are the absolute centre of the universe for the people who live there. And so they're full of, all sorts of life.
There are many Australians like me who feel incredibly moved by our landscape, no matter where we are. It doesn't extend, I don't think, possibly as deeply as the Indigenous people because they capture it.
Even part Talma, part country, Talma, Nogocha. Jamoko, no,
Singing the country, representing 16 different language groups, 57 Indigenous artists are featured in the national touring exhibition Desert Country. Drawn from the Art Gallery of South Australia's historic collection, it recently opened at Victoria's Mornington Regional Gallery.
Namda Barupton Atawillam, we welcome you here.
What they've given the world, of course, is a remarkable art movement, an absolutely remarkable art movement. And my late husband used to say he didn't mind what the stories were, he just thought this was extraordinary contemporary art.
Janet Holmes lost her late husband, Australia's first billionaire, Robert Holmes, unexpectedly at age just 53. Taking charge of the family business, Janet Holmes has continued the couple's passion for and promotion of Indigenous art. A great favourite of the couple, the work of Emily Nungwarai, who only started painting in her 70s, usually sitting in the dust at Utopia on the edge of the Simpson Desert. In the last 8 years of her life, Emily created 3,000 works, including the celebrated Big Yam Dreaming. And you were particularly close to her?
I wasn't actually that close to her. The story is... Oh, sorry. Seeing her, it was just such an eye-opener. She's painting this massive thing. It's about, I think it's at least 6 metres by 3 or 8 by 3 or something. This huge thing, this little ancient woman painting away, singing away to herself, and she stands up and just walks off, and she probably never looked at it again. It was about the act of singing her country and getting that onto the canvas. It wasn't about what it looked like in the end.
Is it that moves you, or is there something else?
As a matter of fact, there's a most amazing photograph of Robert, my late husband, with Emily, of their eyes meeting. And it's an extraordinary thing because he was the most patrician looking person and Emily was the most ancient looking person. But there was this
connection.
There's a connection. So I think of that. Sorry.
The photograph lost in the mists of time. The memory burning as brightly today as Emily Nungwarai's international reputation.
The Japanese people absolutely got it. I think it was 93,000 Japanese people went to see the Andy Warhol retrospective. 147,000 of them went to see Emily. Her progression as an artist is such an extraordinary visual story.
There are many others, like Sad Memories of Maralinga, In the 1950s, the Pitjantjatjara clans and others were herded off their lands in South Australia to allow the British to test atomic bombs.
Unfortunately, they didn't find everyone because people were living, in quite vast distances from where non-Aboriginal people had been. Some of the Pitjantjatjara people that lived on that country were never actually found, so a lot of people died, terrible illnesses. There are people who are still, sick to this day.
Powerful stories are plenty, some sad, others not so.
Big story was exploding. In my Pulkanangat, I Papa Kungura. Morgan, get down, brought up with you next morning.
Desert dreaming, joining the dots that link the past to the present to the people of an ancient land.
So what got you interested about this art?
If the rest of the world could see and appreciate the work of our Indigenous people, it would help them gain self-esteem, self-respect if they realised that they were able to produce things that were regarded as on a world scale. Then that would help lift their self-esteem and maybe lift them out of the dreadful circumstances in which many of them find themselves.
It's so important for people to hear about Aboriginal culture from an Aboriginal perspective. So the more opportunities that we have to express ourselves, then the better off we can all be as Australians.
Painting nangan banyakola koleni cukur pa mdawa mula pa tanam bangurang ka cukur pa pulka ngani